So I'm recording this as a follow-up to my previous video, which was all about just some latest patch glitches, just like a general overview and like introduction to them. Since I didn't really like get super far into like I gave a good summary and like some things that they can be used for, but for things that are complicated like Noclip movement, uh, I just felt like it deserved its own separate thing as well, just to get more into how it works and what you can do with it and what you can't do with it, and how to save yourself if you fuck up. So that's what this is. I'm not going to cover how to get Noclip. That is in the other video, and if you haven't watched it and you want to, go check that out, and I'll put the playlist link in the description. So, yeah. So as you can see right now, I have the Godseeker hub. So I've done God Home MMS, Noclip. So I have Noclip. Yeah. I can go through walls. I think I have VSync off, but whatever. It doesn't really matter right now. So quick reminder, so when I jump up like this, I have airwalk, and this is like one of the two states that you can be in when you have Noclip. There's airwalk, and then there's falling, not airwalk. And yeah. So when you're in airwalk, this is just like a generally safer state to be in. Because you can just like dash as many times as you want. And you can jump to go up, right? Like this. But you can't go down, which is a problem. Because, like, it's nice and all that you can go up, but you can't go through upwards transitions with Noclip, because that'll soft lock you. So it's not really it's not really useful for runs if you couldn't go down, right? So we go down by losing airwalk. And there are a couple ways of doing that. If quickest is tap C dash, like that. You can dream nail, you can use a nail art. You can, if you don't have any of those options, you can tap focus. But in general, C dash is your fastest. I nail art sometimes because it looks cool and it's like comparatively fast, but oh, and you can also like do VS or wraiths, but if you have soul, and I just recommend tapping focus because that's faster, it doesn't consume soul. So yeah, so right now I'm falling with, well, I'm not falling, but I'm falling. And if I want to go down, I can down dash with dash master. You need dash master. And you get one dash and one wings in this state, unlike with airwalk where you can like dash as many times as you want because the game thinks you're on the ground. So it refreshes your dash as if you were on the ground. But yeah, down dash. Whee! So yeah, I mean, as I said, that is a more dangerous state to be in, right? So you don't want to wings if you don't have anything like a safety net. So if you're not sure of your wings, try to like do it into a transition like I did there. Don't just like do it willy-nilly because you're like, oh, I'm doing Hollow Knight, I should jump. Like you do in NMG runs where you just like exist and you're like jump, jump, jump. You don't want to do that in Noclip. Don't press your jump button. Another thing you want to watch out for, with the wings and the falling state, if you've played any amount of Hollow Knight, you've probably heard of the dreaded floaty jump. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, it's that thing where sometimes when you press your wings button, you like get a weird jump that's like a full wings jump and it's just weird and you didn't want it to be, and it messes up your movement and you're sad and freaked out. Well, in Noclip, it's a little more dangerous than just messing up your movement, because as you can see, when I tap wings here, I just go up a little bit until I've stopped holding wings. With a floaty jump, you let go of wings and you keep going up and up and up and up and up and up forever. You have nothing to stop yourself. Well, I'll talk about that in a bit. You do have things to stop yourself. But releasing jump doesn't stop you. So, you definitely want to be careful of that. Your first, jump after an MMS, whether it's, an airwalk, like a jump with airwalk, or just a wings jump, is always going to be a floaty jump. And what causes floaty jump, as far as I'm aware, this is paraphrased from somebody who told me about this like a year ago. If you like cancel your jump within the first, I think, 4 frames of you starting it, usually like by going into a transition, your next jump will be a floaty jump. So if I were to like jump and cancel airwalk really fast, my next jump would possibly be a floaty jump. I can like try it right now to see if I get it, but no promises. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's the floaty. So that is what you want to avoid. See, I'm not pressing, oh, I don't have hitboxes bound right now. I am not pressing my jump button anymore, but yeah, as you can see, I am so far away that the camera doesn't know what to do, so, you want to avoid that. Okay. I'm gonna lose my Noclip here, but, I have debug, so I'll get it right back. There we go. So what do you do if you get a floaty jump, right? I told you that if you're in a situation where you've winged incorrectly, got a floaty jump, and are going up and can't stop yourself, that there's still something you can do. That is true. You have to be fast, you have to realize that you fucked up, and you have to get a little lucky. So you need something that's going to just force your knight to stop. It's not going to make you go down, but it's going to force your knight to stop, and ideally it's going to force your knight to stop in a place where you can do something that'll get you down. Maybe like you're in Fog Canyon and you can pogo a jellyfish. That's I brought that up because that happened to me like yesterday. But yeah. So what you want to do is so if you have soul, and you have spells, you can cast a fireball or wraith. Don't dive, that'll make you go down. Well, don't dive unless you know what you're doing. But fireball or wraiths will stop you from moving upward any farther. You can also use a great slash if you have it. Cyclone will not help, and dash slash. I mean, if you have a dash, you might as well just dash downwards. But yeah. So those are your main ways of just stopping yourself from going up. And yeah, you can also like try to get yourself into like a hazard or a transition or something, but like that kind of like thinking is like really hard to do quickly, so like I just kind of recommend keeping it in the back of your mind when you're gonna wings. Like if I get a floaty jump right now and I miss the transition or whatever I'm trying to do, nail art, fireball, wraiths, one of those. So yeah. Another situation that you might end up in, is like being, oh, floaty jump. We talked about this. Another situation you might end up in is, oh, that's not the right button. Is this my debug Noclip? No, that's not my debug Noclip. Okay, there it is. So, there we go. Okay, so right now I am below the collision, and, I don't have airwalk, so I can't get up. I could tap wings, but, it's kind of difficult to tap wings into airwalk, right? Because you have to be really precise. Depending on the floor, the places that you get airwalk can kind of vary. it just kind of depends on the hitbox, and looking at hitboxes doesn't necessarily help with that because Team Cherry is interesting. So, I'll talk about that in a little bit if I remember. But generally, yeah, so wingsing to get airwalk here is a little bit risky. You can make it a little less risky by charging nail art and using wings to stop yourself. So, I missed it, but that's just kind of like a generally good thing to keep in mind, that you can do that. And yeah, just in general, if you have wings, just remember that you can use nail art to be more precise with what you're going to do next. What? Okay. Oh yeah, as you saw there, I got airwalk here from standing on this hitbox here, which I am going to bind my hitbox button now because I'm sick of not having the ability to show you. Where is it? I lost it. Okay. So you can see my knight is standing on this hitbox here. And this is like they're like airwalk lines, right? But there can be an airwalk line in a wall also. Just any horizontal surface like this. Like this could potentially give you airwalk. And depending on the floor, it can be like a little different. Like there are literally like there are some horizontal like hitboxes and stuff where like you can be like in the floor and still get airwalk. This one is one of them. You see my knight is like below the hitbox and you still get airwalk. Some of them you have to be like exactly on the thing, like as if I was like here. Like you'll just have to feel it out per floor. It doesn't always make sense. But like in general, see like this doesn't really work, but it's just another thing that you can keep in mind too. Just like try to get airwalk in hidden places where you wouldn't normally be able to see in like walls and stuff. Just to try to save yourself, but because that can be like faster than quitting out and MMSing again or resetting your run. Yeah. C dashing is also really weird. Let me. So you would think it makes sense, right? You can C-dash when you have airwalk, and you're on a floor. And that is true. You can C-dash when you have airwalk and you're on a floor. If you aren't on a floor, you tap C-dash, you lose airwalk. And you can't C-dash when you don't have airwalk. Regardless of, well, I mean, if you're on a floor, you have airwalk. But whatever. So yeah. The thing is, you can charge a C-dash in weird places. Like I'm not even on the floor, but I'm near a floor. And I don't know why, like, tell me if you find out, because this doesn't look like it should let you charge a C-dash. And it really just depends on the floor. Like, there are some that you have to literally be exactly on the floor, and then there are some, like, here where you can be, like, 3 feet off and still charge a C-dash. So yeah, just keep it in mind. Yeah. Don't worry if, like, you don't really know where you can and can't C-dash, I guess, because, I mean, no one really does. Another thing, you can do, so I said don't cast dive to stop yourself, right? That is partially true. So there are a couple places where you can cast dive to stop yourself. You can either, so you can dive into water or acid. Well, water or acid if you have ismas for acid. Liquids will always stop you from, like, moving up or down. It just, like, stops you in your tracks. And you don't go through them with Noclip. If you have invuln as well as Noclip, which is a different thing, With Dreamgate Noclip, you'll get invuln from it, so keep that in mind. If you have invuln, acid without ismos will not stop you. You'll just go through it because it's a hazard, not a liquid. Similarly, if you don't have invuln, you can like dive into spikes or something and abuse the hazard respawn. That also stops you, and you can try to like get hit by something if you have like no other option to stop yourself, because getting hit by like an enemy or whatever will also stop you like from moving upwards, just because of the way that the damage knockback works. And one final note about dive, I'm gonna have to find a place that I can do this. What's a good place I can do this? Oh, I don't have unlock all in. Let me, okay, I'm not gonna have, this is debug Noclip, this is... Oops. Okay. Okay, so I have Noclip again. Oh, I didn't give myself soul. So say I'm like somewhere here, right? You can see there's a transition below me. And say I've lost Airwalk and don't have a way to get it back. How do I save myself now, right? Say I don't have a wings, I have Airwalk now. Pretend I don't. Say I don't have a wings, I don't have a dash, and I'm just completely stuck. I have been in this situation in this room, and I've seen people be in this situation in this room. Some people say dive. I say if it is a correct, like, if it is like a place where you know this will work, or you think it might work and you have no other option, dive into the horizontal transition. And you'll see what this does. It's gonna look funny. Alright, the game's taking control away from me, and I can't move. If I did not have a transition right here that would give me back control, I would keep moving in the direction that I came out of the transition indefinitely. With invuln, so hitting enemies or whatever will not stop you. So you can only do this if you're going to come out of the transition and walk directly into another transition. Ow. There aren't very many places where you can do this. The room outside of, like, to the right of the Crystal Guardian bench, like the bottom, like, left and right transitions in that room are some of them, so you can use that in agag if you get stuck in that room. Or, like, the two adjacent rooms to it. You have to walk through that room. And, like, if you're, like, stuck in, like, this room or another room where, you know, you have that situation and you think in your head, oh, wait, I remember the layout of the next room. I can do, this, where let's pretend I didn't miss the transition despite being able to see it with debug. Yeah. So, yeah, you saw me just, like, walk through that jellyfish, and here's a demonstration of the liquid thing. You can just dive into the liquid. There are a couple of, like, places in runs where you do that anyway. Like, in TAG Dupless, you dive into the, transition, like, in Crossroads, the entrance to Fog Canyon, just to, like, go through the transition, and then, like, the next transition deposits you right into the acid, so it's also pretty cool. Couple more notes. Oh, I don't have bench storage. What is this? There we go. I have bench storage now. Sharp Shadow with transition storage makes you move down very, very fast. So if you remember, transition storage uncaps your fall speed. When falling with Noclip, usually it doesn't seem to. But, I mean, so, like, with normal, like, down dash with Noclip, it doesn't really seem like it makes your fall speed any faster. But with Sharp Shadow, you like accelerate like so fast. And you have to be coming out of like a downwards transition to be able to do that. So if I were to get transition storage in this room right now, as you can see, I came out of this horizontal transition, so I just got airwalk, and my only ways of losing airwalk would also lose transition storage, so like I can start focusing, but now I don't have transition storage anymore. You see, I'm falling at a normal pace. Let me just show this off really fast. Keep in mind that this can be like a little bit of a scary situation, right? You have transition storage, so you don't have, if you remember, you don't have like wings, so you can't adjust yourself as you're falling at this insane speed. So you have to know where the transition is, and you can't really do anything about it if you don't know where it is. So, and you miss it. So yeah, I'll just show this off. So I've opened my inventory, and I'm gonna down dash. And this is a lot faster. Oops. You can also use a spell to get your or lose your transition storage also. So I could just wings back. I could wings up into the transition after I casted a fireball. There. Owie. Okay, I'm not familiar with this room without invuln, but yeah, you get the picture. You can also let me work back so that I can show this off as well. Oh, I need to give myself Noclip again. Let me zoom back in again. So, another thing, I don't remember if I talked about this in my last video, but you can cast spells with transition storage, right? So one cool thing you can do, so I told you that, you can't lose airwalk and keep transition storage. That is true, but there are ways of going down quickly through vertical rooms where you came out of a horizontal transition without doing the transition storage down dash. And that's to come into this room with transition storage and then dive. And I have told you that it's dangerous to dive with Noclip because you don't have anything to stop yourself as you're falling, unless you go into water or acid. That's true, but with transition storage you have an additional thing that you can do, and that is while you have control during your dive, you also have control to do other things. So you can dash. Yes, you heard that right. You can dash while you're diving. And dashing horizontally will end your diving animation, basically. Yeah. So, that'll also lose your transition storage once you've done that, like once your dive has finished, but that's not a huge problem since hopefully then you're at the height of the transition that you wanted to do in, and so your job in that room is done. Keep in mind that if your diving animation doesn't fully finish, and you go into the transition that you're headed towards, the thing that happened when I dove into the horizontal transition in that room to the right of me, that'll happen, whether you wanted it to or not. And if you didn't want it to, and it's a room where you're gonna have your control taken away from you, and there's nothing that's going to give it to you back, so you're not going to walk directly into another transition, basically. You're soft locked. So yeah. I have transition storage, and I'm going to dive. I can move, see, like this during the dive, and I just dashed there. So I ended the dive. So yeah. And I can wings, because I no longer have transition storage. Yeah. I don't think there was much else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, slopes. Slopes are very dangerous. Slopes will do this funny thing where if you hit one, and oftentimes they're hidden in a wall, like you see down here, like this like the top of this ceiling above the mask shard, this slowly moves upwards. So you saw there. I was holding my horizontal direction and I like moved up a little bit as I was holding it. If you find yourself in that situation, it starts moving you upwards and it doesn't stop. So once you've like hit the end of this, sometimes you'll just keep moving up outside of your control. And I see a lot of people like panic when that happens, right? Like, oh no, I'm moving up. I didn't expect it. I was in a wall. Obviously you didn't have hitboxes on. You're doing a run. That's not allowed. And it happens a lot when people are in King's Pass and they hit a slope and they're like, oh, what do I do, right? But if you have airwalk, what you do is you horizontal dash, and that'll stop you from moving upwards any farther. Slopes can be especially dangerous, for example, in dash storages where you don't have control. So hitting a slope in a dash storage is usually a run killer because it's a soft lock. You can't do anything about it because nothing's going to give your control back. Unless you hit like an enemy or another transition or something, then you'll get your control back. I should also note that on older patches, when people are in Noclip without bench storage, you'll see them like open their inventory to stop themselves. Sometimes. That's nice and all, but you can't do that on current patch when you don't have bench storage, and when you do and you can open your inventory. Let me show you really quick what that does in case you forgot. Do I have bench storage? Oh well, we'll find out. Yeah. So I can't move. That's what opening your inventory with bench storage does. If I were to be flying or falling or something, it would stop me, but I would also have a slight case of being soft locked as a side effect. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Don't let that be your first impulse. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to talk about. I think this video is only going to be about 30 minutes long, which is short compared to my last one, but long if you came into this not really knowing what Noclip was and assumed that it meant that you had complete control, as if you were, see, this is debug Noclip. I can move wherever the hell I want. This is not the case with vanilla Noclip that you'll see used in all glitches runs. It's very different and very dangerous. I really hope this helped any newbie glitch runners. This probably mostly covered things that people already knew, but I wanted to make this video just to try to give some little tips and tricks, and just in case somebody's trying it out for the first time or doesn't really know all of the things that they can do to save themselves if they mess up. So, yeah. Honestly, per run and per room, you're just gonna have to feel it out. The hitboxes are different, the out-of-bounds geometry is different than you would have in an NMG run. It's all going to be very different in a learning experience, and as I'm writing new meme categories and trying to figure out movement through new rooms that I've never been in before and nobody's ever really done in Noclip, I'm learning a lot of new things too. Trust me, Team Cherry's put some interesting things in this game. So yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Bye-bye. Happy glitching.